Hi, welcome to Nina in the Kitchen, where today I'm making a milk chocolate mousse cake, and I'm so excited to show this to you. This recipe, well, let me start here. I went online and I asked, what would you like to see for Valentine's Day? Would you like to see something red for the color of passion, or would you like to see chocolate, the food of love? And I think it was unanimous, everyone said chocolate. Then I got chocolate mousse cake, flourless chocolate cake. So I knew exactly the cake that I wanted to make. It comes from this book, Perfect Cakes, and the author is Chef Nick Malgiri. If you don't know him, he's an American treasure. I will post his .com on my blog and perhaps talk about him in a minute. Let me get started. This cake goes together so quickly and it's so delicious. So here are the ingredients. It's very simple. I'm using just a 3/4 cup of water, 1/4 cup of sugar. This is 1 stick of unsalted butter. I have milk chocolate, 18 ounces, and you just chop it up. It's 18 ounces, which is 510 grams, if you're a grams kind of person. And the oven is on at 325. Now, I just want to mention, you want to use good quality chocolate. I do want to mention that you can enjoy this with whatever milk chocolate you like, but do not use chips. Chips have conditioners in them which prevent them from melting when you're baking with them. So therefore, they're not going to melt really well in this application. I have 7 large eggs. I'm going to use a tablespoon of grated orange zest, and Chef Malgiri in his book says 2 tablespoons of dark rum or other liqueurs. So what you do, very easy, over medium heat, the sugar and the water go in, and you give that a little stir a couple of times, and after it's melted, you add your chocolate and butter. That's going to take just a moment. Then over here, and you know, I normally actually do this by hand, but I'm going to real quick just get these eggs frothy. So Nick Malgiri, let me tell you about him. I just love this guy. His genius, if you will, is that he takes techniques and things that people are kind of afraid of, like puff pastry, and he makes them, he breaks a technique down or comes up with his own. And that's what he does. He makes things accessible to those of us who are not world-class pastry chefs like he is. And he's the author of 12 books. The newest one I have to get, I have a few of his, but the newest one is called Pastries or Pastry. I have to get it. It just, I know there's stuff in there that I want to know. This is a tablespoon or so of orange zest. That looks good. That's from 1 orange. And the rum or whatever liqueur you're using goes in. So the orange zest just gets mixed in here. And then we go back to the saucepan where everything's melted. The water is boiling. I'm going to turn the heat off and just add chocolate and the unsalted butter. So I'm just going to let that sit for a minute, just let everything melt in there. I have a pan that I've prepped. This is an 8-inch cake pan. And by the way, on the back of my pans, I always write how big it is. I just find that, and this has been here for years. It's just a magic marker. But I've buttered the pan, and now I want to line it with parchment. I've cut a piece of parchment so that I know that it's the size of the pan. You fold it again, and now you have this little corner right here, and you just bring the edges together. And again, and you can even do one more. I flip the pan over, put this in the middle of the pan, and as you can see, I'm just eyeballing it, and I go out to the edge. So I know I can cut this right here, and that's going to give me a circle that should fit right inside. So what I'm doing is the pan is greased, and I want this greased as well. So I'm just putting some grease on this, and I'm flipping it, or two sides of the paper. The parchment paper is greased. I just cut that a little short. I'm always afraid I'm going to have edges coming up. So the butter and the chocolate have melted into this sugar syrup. The temperature on this is only about 105 or so. You don't want to scramble your eggs, so you do want to work quickly, but this is actually just about body temp. So my oven is at 325 degrees, which is 160 Celsius. And you know, if you have anyone who you know with gluten problems, this is a great cake to make. I have a pan back here, and I've had some water that I've warmed in the microwave. We're going to do what's called a bain-marie. So this pan will go into a water bath. And the reason for a bain-marie is so that your custard, or in this cake it will be moussey, but you want it to heat evenly and gently all the way through the cooking process. So this is how you create a bain-marie, and typically I would do this at the oven, but I have some water here which I've heated up, and that goes into a pan which will fit this 8-inch pan. So here is your mousse. It's amazing how easy this recipe is and how incredible it turns out. It's creamy and light, and then afterwards, that's when you realize that, oh, I just had something really rich. So this goes into the water, just like that. You want it about halfway up the sides, which it is, and then this will go into the oven, and in an hour we will have a milk chocolate mousse cake. And I'll see you then. Well, it's been 1 hour, and this cake always is right on time in my oven. So keep an eye on it, but the way to take it out of here is you can use a wide spatula. I have two, and you just want to carefully lift it out of that hot water and put it on a cooling rack, and this will take a couple of hours to come down to room temperature. Then after that, you can wrap this in foil and put this in your refrigerator. It needs to be chilled before you can take it out of the pan, but you can put it in your fridge for up to a week. You can cover this with foil, put it in your freezer, and freeze it for a month. So it's a total do-ahead recipe, which I think is genius. So I'm just going to let this cool down, and we'll be back for the tasting. Hi, well, we're back. Now it's tomorrow. You don't have to put this in the fridge overnight, but I chose to do that. I've held this for as long as 3 days. You saw how quickly it went together. I heated this pan, and I cut all around the edge with a very thin bladed knife. So we're ready to flip. Drum roll. I think it flipped. Yes! All right. Oh, I got a little crack in there. That's too bad. Well, as you can see, there was a little divot that came out. That must be because my parchment wasn't perfectly fitted, but what I'm doing is just using an offset spatula and patching it up. There's always a way to recover, right? I'm happy with that because from here I'm going to decorate this. I wanted to show you some very simple decorations that you can do. I have some leftover milk chocolate. So I'm just going to, this is the easiest thing I know to do to get chocolate fancy schmancy curls. You just use a vegetable peeler and you make these little curls. They're so cute. And of course, a dark chocolate is going to be harder than this if it's a good quality. So there we have some curls, and then I'm just going to put raspberries around. So this is 12 servings, a cake that gives you 12 servings. So I'm putting these on. I'll put 12 of them. There we are. So very simple. But wait, there's more. If you remember, in one video I made a raspberry coulis, which is a fresh fruit sauce. And what I'm going to do is take some coulis and puddle it on a plate, and then just do some little drops. Odd numbers is best. Odd numbers is something that, as a human, apparently attracts our attention more than even. So whenever you decorate a plate or a house, and you just drag this through, and you have these little hearts. And then in that puddle over there, I'm going to put a piece of cake. Now, there's two ways you can cut this cake. One is with dental floss, which actually works beautifully. But if you don't do that, you're going to use a knife. What you want to do is dip it into some warm water. And every time you make a slice, you dip and wipe with a towel. And that'll give you a nice, clean slice. Beautiful. And there it is, beautiful. It's amazing how this becomes a little mousse. And I've made this a number of times. It's a really great recipe to have. It's easy, goes together very quickly. For a little more zhuzh. And you saw that went together like that. Very easy, all easy techniques. This cake is so delicious, my mouth is watering just thinking about it. I hate to disturb this though, the plate's so beautiful, but yeah, no. The cake is almost as light as the whipped cream, but then it finishes rich, chocolatey, so delicious. It's so delicious. This recipe is really genius. You can do it ahead. All of the ingredients are very easily accessible to everyone. It goes together fast, and it's absolutely worth the calories. Chef Maldieri, thank you so much for being so generous as to allow me to make this. I hope I did it some justice. And everybody else, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and next time.